Welcome to round two with blue-white Eldrazi this week. This hand on the play is not unreasonable for a non-thing hand. It's not great, but I think this is like borderline keepable. I just kind of want to figure out if this card's good, actually. I also want to figure out why Magic Online decides to resize my card images every time. I guess if this hand had a path in... I don't even know what instead of. If this hand had a path, it would be like very, very good. Well, my opponent playing Inquisition of Kozilek is a good sign for me. Um, they're probably playing Abzan. They're probably just going to try to shred me up the curve. Interesting. So they have a reasonable amount of spot removal. They could also be the Mardu deck. The Paul Rietzel Mardu deck that most of the rest of my team played at the Pro. Nope, just Abzan. Well, hmm. The fact that they took Sky Spawner makes me want to expose Sky Spawner here. Also, the fact that they could have, like, yeah, sure, that actually works still. If they have, like, Path into Liliana, I'm in big trouble if I go the other way. There's just, like, a lot of... The fact that my opponent wanted to go down this road is just kind of pointing towards me wanting to, you know, go down this road. Or they didn't want to go down this road, so I want to. Oh boy, you're pathing something? Whew. Please give me lands. Please. Please, please, please. Oh. That's also acceptable for me. 3 Forgoyf. 4/5. Source. Oh, I have a land. The void cards still have card types. Let's do this right. If I do this right, I mean just tap in like a semi-reasonable way. Yeah, it looks like my opponent was setting up for Liliana there. Sure. This is probably a spot where Displacer does a tapper job. I'm just like, tap your, flicker your thing to tap it. If it gets decayed, that's obnoxious. But if I get edicted, I don't know what I want to lose. It's actually like a weird spot if Liliana minuses. Yeah, sure, whatever. Creature down. Please trade blows. Please? Ooh, that's acceptable. Well, there's a Liliana. I don't really think the Liliana does anything. Tassiger feels like it might be obnoxious, though. If I get Liliana, I think I'm supposed to sack the Mimic. That's fine too. Discarding land, sure. Opponent still has no good attacks. They're not quite dead if I... Ooh, that's about as much as I could ask for. Think... So I can trade a Scion for the Liliana, which just seems correct. Like, the Liliana is going to minus need a Scion regardless. So I should tap the Goyf, get in for 5 here and 4 there. Or I can do 4-4. Actually, I can put my opponent to 2, which... Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Do I... 2... I lose a Scion. There's a blocker. Okay, if my opponent just wants to concede and complain in the chat about me getting lucky, that's also fine. Trying to figure out... I actually have no idea, like, if I'm supposed to kill... I think I'm actually supposed to kill the Liliana, because I think that the Scions are a pretty valuable resource there. Like, tapping a blocker is going to deal 4 with the Seer anyways on a later turn, I think. I don't mind Rest in Peace here. I don't want Disenchant. Don't want Rest for the Weary. Like, in theory, my opponent could have Worship or some nonsense, but I'm going to wait on that and see if they do something. Dismember's not great against typical lists. So I kind of just want to, like, have a Rest in Peace instead of the last one. I guess, like, I guess the Siege Runner list I still kind of want Dismember against. It's just, like, the Lingering Souls and stuff. I'm okay with this. I think Rest in Peace kills, like... So the thing is that Rest in Peace is basically a Dismember because it kills... if they have a Tasigur, it preemptively kills it. If they have a Goyf, it effectively kills it. If they have Lingering Souls, it kills half of it. So I don't want to overload on that effect, but I think I want... Let's try 2. This looks fine to me. Hand is not the best against, like, Thoughtseize Liliana, but... I guess, against the Thoughtseize Liliana hand, anything's just going to be... Like, any deck you play is going to be playing off the top of the deck. Yeah, that's fine. Card's that good here, huh? Yeah, exposing that has to be right. Probably a Goyf. 3-4? Oh. That's also fine. Yeah, this is one of those unfortunate draws. Yeah, that's kind of an issue. Well, this is probably Ooze or Goyf. Ooze. Okay. Good beats. That's up to a 4 now, that Ooze. So, well, I have to take that. There's a Twilight Mire in my opponent's hand. That's fine. I'm still in the same mana range I need to be. I think... So I know my opponent's hand's a brick and a brick. So I would like to get... Planes, I believe. Oh, that was a mistake. I have enough sources of everything. It doesn't really matter. I think I'm supposed to offer the trade because I think that... Yeah. Well, definitely supposed to offer the trade after drawing that. I did count right. Well, there's... I guess there's no reason to not put the other one into play here. I don't think there's any card my opponent would hold in hand at any point, and having the second one in play, if my opponent doesn't draw a kill spell, makes things really awkward. By awkward, I mean awkward for them. Paying full retail on these cards is still reasonable. Gosh, what's the worst case? Liliana? I guess the worst case is Dismember. I don't want to attack. Not even because the removal situation is so bad for me, but because if I just like let my opponent draw a card, it's likely that they'll cascadingly draw out of this situation. Did I have the Magic Super Read? I did. And my opponent just tapped terribly. So they probably drew like a Goyf or something. Or they think they want to trade damage against me. I don't think trading damage against me is a profitable play, but sure. Yeah, it's probably just a Tarmogoyf or Lingering Souls. Why was... I don't understand why that was not cast during my opponent's main phase to attempt to draw a spell to cast on their turn. Like, they can go... I guess there's a threat of me drawing a third Seer, like, if the odds... The odds of that have to be lower than the odds of them drawing a 2-drop that matters there. Like, they should have gone green... Like, green, tap Mire for green, eat my... Or, path, eat my creature after the path, see what they drew. Yeah. That was definitely the correct line for them to take there. Not sure what my opponent's trying to accomplish with that. Any spell I don't know. Any spell I would have had at that. So they know I still have Cavern in hand, and any spell I have would get cast. Whereas leaving up the extra mana for Ooze actually could do something. You can't leave up the extra mana for Ooze though. And dead because I have to pay life to this, and they attack with. May as well make my opponent go through the motions. If they don't activate Wildwood, then I'm okay. Because I can pay 2 life to cast this via the Caves of Kolios instead of the other options. There isn't a creature in my graveyard, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. I guess I'm just realistically dead anyways and giving my opponent the option to make another misplay. In case it wasn't obvious, I am, yeah, dead here. Yeah. Path is really good here. Dismember's not the greatest. I like all these other cards. Let's see. It's kind of a weird balance in this matchup. I guess I didn't see Fulminators that game. If your opponent has Fulminators, you're like in this weird I need X resources thing. I don't especially mind this hand, actually. I don't think it's great, but I'm not opposed to it. Does a lot of good things. Does a lot more good things if I draw Ayahugan next turn. So let's like, in general, the rule against Abzan is that, or Jund, or any of the green-black decks in Modern, is that all they're trying to do is trade resources one for you. So if you end up in a spot where you have to like mulligan against them, like if you, in general, your questionable hands are significantly better against them than you think. Just because being down the physical card is such an issue. Yeah, see, like here, like my opponent is just trading cards for my cards, and in this spot, yeah. Okay, good. They don't have Maelstrom Pulse. That's significantly less concerning. They do have thousands of discard spells, though. Okay, well, good. Not a Liliana. Jeez, literal thousands of millions of discard spells. Still not a Liliana, so I'm okay. If my opponent Liliana's and minuses, I think I'm supposed to path my own creature and try to hit the land to get out of it. Decay? Sure. In the spot of Decay, I definitely don't want to use the path to get a land, though. It's specifically Liliana, because with Decay, there's no pressure to immediately do that. Not super into getting rid of that immediately. I think I can withstand, like, a hit, and it feels like my opponent is short on mana. So I'd rather not use the path right away. Yeah, there's no white mana in play for my opponent. They used Catacombs to get a swamp. They didn't fetch white mana when they had the chance, though, so that's kind of interesting. Land? See, here I'm okay using the path. Gets, like, marginally awkward if my opponent has Rhino. Oh, geez. This is great. So they don't have Liliana, they don't have Rhino. They probably have, like, Lingering Souls, which I can beat pretty easily here. Now, they might have Rhino, I guess. Why did I say they don't have Rhino? Thought I had a reason for that. I didn't really have a reason. That is currently not good on either side, or to do anything on either side of the board. You do not flicker your opponent's rhinos. However, if I draw a land, if I draw an Eldrazi land, that gets crazy, right? Because I get to that doesn't do anything. I can flicker my Drowner on the spot, which isn't terrible. Saves it from removal. I want white land. The blue land, I have the Cavern 4. Still don't think my opponent has relevant attacks here. Really? So they have another Rhino? That's going to get rough for me. So they go to 10. 10 all is a problem. That's interesting. This. So if I smasher them, attack to 5, they need. Yeah, I definitely want to smasher them. Though if they have a third Rhino, I'm in huge issue. Yeah, can't beat the old 3R1 dream, right? Yeah, definitely smash. Just kind of use the Drowner as a cryptic. Yeah, if my opponent attacks with both Rhinos, I think I'm just required to take. Don't be Thoughtseize, please. Good, that's not a Thoughtseize. Can probably beat Maelstrom Pulse here. Sure, as long as this isn't like some Loxodon Smiter nonsense. Good, it wasn't. It was. They discarded a Path? Or they discarded a Dismember. That's not something that bodes well for me. Yeah, I take that. Yeah, this is definitely the right scenario for this card. I think I'm supposed to tap the Rhino and put my opponent to 1. I'm dead to a path here, but whatever. I would think I was like basically dead to a path regardless. I think putting my opponent to 1 puts them in a real bind. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I don't think I could have beat that as their last card, right? If I keep both of these, I still die. I have to, like, no attack into a bad board position and die. Yeah, so, like, I no attack, and then I, like, double the Rhino and still take a million, and then I have to rip out. Yeah, I think that's still the right plays. Put my opponent to 1. Put them in a spot where if they don't have the kill spell... I guess the holding back, I don't... No, any sorcery speed removal, I can tap a Rhino, and then put my opponent into a spot where I have, like, a Sky Spawner and enough toughness to live. Yeah, I think I played that reasonably. Have to back up and think about that, though. Yeah, I don't know. Did milk a decent amount of damage on my early game. Maybe I used the path a turn too early? Could have assumed my opponent just had a million rhinos. If I'd held the path a turn, I win this game, but I don't know if that's actually right. I think maybe if I have with the 4/4 endless one, that's correct. Yeah, very possible.